What did we do to deserve the greatest NBA offseason of all time? I'm not sure, but Carmelo Anthony is now on the Thunder and the NBA should be scared. There's no exaggeration in that statement. Last season, the Thunder won 47 games, and this summer they just added 2 NBA All-Stars. They're going to be very good. So what's up, guys? My name is Mike, and today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the Melo trade. Then after that, we're going to see if the Thunder now have enough talent to beat the Warriors, and finally, we're gonna finish off the video with talking about the Knicks for like a second. And before we start, I just want to say thank you guys so much for 1 million subscribers. I'm honestly still in shock over this, but as a thank you, I wanted to do something for you guys. So on Twitter right now, I'm doing a giveaway. I'm giving away 5 NBA jerseys of your choice. I'm posting a link to the tweet that is the giveaway down below. In order to enter, all you have to do is retweet and follow me on Twitter. So good luck with the giveaway, and now let's talk about this trade. This summer, the Oklahoma City Thunder decided to go all in. Their franchise player Russell Westbrook has a player option at the end of this season, so they had to do something. They had to try and build a legitimate contender around Russ. Normally, in situations like this, things do not go very well. However, somehow, the Thunder succeeded. Sam Presti, general manager God, was basically able to trade 4 role players for Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, which is just absurd. When looking at the Melo trade specifically, it's clear that this was an absolute no-brainer for OKC. Now, I'm not saying that Enes Kanter and Doug McDermott aren't good players. What I am saying is that the Thunder really won't miss them too much. In their careers thus far, both McDermott and Kanter have been solid on the offensive end, but they've also been complete defensive liabilities, which means during the playoffs, when the intensity goes up, both Doug and Enes became borderline unplayable. Just take a look at last year's playoff stats, where McDermott averaged just 13.2 minutes per game and Kanter only saw 9 minutes per game. So again, the Thunder traded away 2 role players who averaged just 22 minutes combined in the playoffs and were able to get an NBA All-Star. Sounds like a pretty great deal to me, especially because now the Thunder have built the championship contender they desperately needed in order to convince Russell Westbrook to stay. We've seen this exact situation play out in the past with other stars. The Cavs couldn't bring in other All-Stars to keep LeBron happy, so he went to the Heat. The Pacers couldn't do enough to keep Paul George happy, so he went to the Thunder. As for the Thunder, they've done everything they could possibly do to keep Westbrook happy. What's more, the team has now put themselves in a great spot to keep Paul George. Sure, during the summer, the rumor was that Paul George was going to be a Laker, but right now, PG has been quoted as saying, "It's year 1 and the Thunder have proven everything on my checklist that I can check off." That's what feels good. That's what makes me feel like, hey, this can be a landing spot for me and somewhere I can call home for years. That is pretty huge. If the Thunder can re-sign Paul George, then their trade for PG will instantly go down as one of the biggest steals we've ever seen. But of course, a huge factor in Paul George's decision is going to be, can OKC win with the core they have in place? Sure, they now have 1 MVP candidate and 2 other All-Stars, but can those 3 players mesh together to compete for a championship? In other words, can Russ share the ball enough to keep everyone happy, and can Melo slow down on his ISO-heavy style of play? Let's start with Melo here. Now, I'll be honest, right now Carmelo Anthony is 33 years old and on the tail end of his prime. He's no longer a superstar NBA player that's a first option, he's more of a second or third guy at this point. Basically, what I'm saying is that he needs the right roster to be successful, which isn't a bad thing because I think the Thunder are that right roster. Everyone loves to bring up the fact that Melo has been an awesome team player when he plays for Team USA. Now, that is definitely true. On Team USA, when surrounded by other stars, Melo has proven that he really does have a great basketball IQ. He's an above-average playmaker, he can rebound, and above all else, he can just do what needs to be done to win games. Going even further than Team USA, though, Carmelo has also proven that he can thrive in a normal NBA setting when he's paired with an all-star level point guard. Yes, two of the best seasons of Melo's career came when he was paired with all-star point guard Chauncey Billups in 2009 and 2010. 2009 saw the Nuggets reach the Western Conference Finals, and 2010 saw them finish with the NBA's number 3 ranked offense. So we can see Carmelo has found success when paired with a great point guard, and now he's paired with Russell Westbrook. However, to be fair, that was in his prime Melo. It remains to be seen if 33-year-old Melo can do the same thing, and that's going to come down to whether or not Carmelo is willing to take a back seat and become the third option on this team, and if he's willing to play some power forward. Personally, I think he's willing to do both of those things because I think at this stage in his career, he's finally gone all in on winning. Just take a look at the teams he was willing to waive his no-trade clause for. You're not going to find the Lakers or the Heat or any other prime destination that does not have a very good basketball team. Instead, Melo only named the Thunder, the Rockets, and the Cavaliers, 3 teams whose goal is to win an NBA championship. That's what Carmelo Anthony wants now. He wants to win a championship, and he is a championship level third option. Sure, at this stage in his career, he has lost a step, but this is Carmelo Anthony we're talking about. The man has been one of the league's best scorers of the last decade, and he can still put the ball in the basket. More importantly, as a third option for the Thunder, Melo also has a great jump shot, and he's an above average rebounder. In the last 4 seasons, Melo has shot over 40% on catch and shoot threes, and the last year alone, Melo's effective field goal percentage in catch and shoot situations was 58.6%, which was better than Kevin Love. So having Carmelo as a third option is big time for OKC. Last year, the team's biggest problem was that they had no court spacing, and now they've added both Melo and Paul George, 2 guys who can both shoot the basketball and create offense when Russ sits, something that was also a major problem for OKC last season. But with all of this said, the question still remains. Can the Oklahoma City Thunder beat the super team that is the Golden State Warriors? I mean, let's be honest here. Melo hasn't been in the playoffs since 2013, and Russ and PG lost in the first round last year. But the best part about this new look Thunder team is that they're not as new as you might think. Many of the pieces from the team that lost in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago are still there. Of course, OKC has Russ, but they also have a solid enforcer at center in Steven Adams. They've got a great perimeter defender in Andre Roberson. They still have the same coach in Billy Donovan. The main pieces they've lost are Kevin Durant, Dion Waiters, and Serge Ibaka, but they replaced those 3 players with Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, and Patrick Patterson. They're a different team now, sure, but you have to admit that the combined talent is similar, and I think the 2018 Thunder have a chance to be better than the 2016 Thunder. This year's team just has more options. They're able to put out a traditional lineup that can still spread the floor with Russ, PG, Melo, Patrick Patterson, and Steven Adams, or they can play small ball and put out Russ, Alex Abrinas, PG, Melo, and Patterson at center. This is huge. After last year's offense that was basically give Russ the ball and everyone else get out of the way, this year's OKC team is actually very flexible and they're very talented. Keep in mind, last season the Thunder were still able to win 47 games in a great Western Conference even with a roster full of holes. This season, the team has fixed many of the problems that have previously plagued them. Sure, they still have some depth issues. Sure, we still have to see if bench players can step up and knock down their open jump shots for once in Russell Westbrook's career. On any NBA roster, you're going to find some problems, so I think adding Paul George and Carmelo Anthony means that as long as this new big 3 can build a solid chemistry between each other, the Thunder are going to improve a lot, and they're going to be in the championship discussion. Can they do even more than that and beat the Warriors and win the championship? Well, honestly, it's too early to answer that question. I will say though, I think the talent is there, and when it's all said and done, taking down the villains of the NBA will probably rest on one man's shoulders. That man is Russell Westbrook. If Russ can be the best player on the court in a 7-game series against Golden State while keeping his teammates involved, the Thunder are going to have a good chance to win. And yeah, that's a big if, but it is possible, and I can't wait for the season to start to see if it happens. So again, I don't know if the Thunder are talented enough to beat the Warriors, but I do think there's a chance. And yes, I did promise to talk about the Knicks, so all I have to say is that I think Enes Kanter is actually a pretty underrated player in today's NBA. He didn't really fit what the Thunder needed, but I think he's going to do very well on the Knicks. And as for Doug McDermott, he is my boy. I've watched him since he was a rookie, and I really hope he's going to do well on the Knicks. At the very least, I think Knicks fans should be happy because the team picked a direction. With Melo, every season they were going to be competing for the 8th seed at best, and without Melo, now they can tank. And I think this is going to be great for Porzingis because now he's the man in New York. He has all the responsibilities of the team superstar. He's going to be looked at to be the team leader, and I think that's going to help him grow. So that's enough about the Knicks, and all I have to say is, again, thank you guys so much for 1 million subscribers. 1 million. How did we do it? How did we do it? It's just amazing. And again, I want to say thank you. So make sure to go click on that tweet below, retweet it so you have a chance to win a free NBA jersey. I'm going to be picking the winners in 6 days. And with that said, if you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. And to everyone who's already subscribed, thank you guys so much again. And as always, have an awesome day and cue that music.